welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United watch along. And pray and beg that this watch along does not crash. Not watch along, live stream, but this live stream does not crash like the watch along yesterday. My watch along crashed about 4 times in the first 20 minutes yesterday. I don't know what's going on with my computer. I apologise for the crashing and quality in the watch along yesterday. But we've got some interesting news to talk about. We've got some takeover news. Fabrizio Romano came out and he went on the United stand today and he's put out some other stuff around the Manchester United takeover, what he believes, what Fabrizio Romano has got on the takeover. Because as I've said, I think a lot of being on the takeover is not true. And I think at least with Fabrizio Romano, he can just kind of look at the situation and go, well, this is kind of what's been said. This is what's been said. This is what I've heard. This is what I can tell you. And you can take what Fabrizio Romano said with a level of honesty. And he said, stuff around the lines of, Qatar very confident that their bid will be successful, despite, Jim Ratcliffe reportedly being in pole position. We don't know what's going on, but reportedly the preferred bid is going to be picked tomorrow, is the rumour going around. But I also want to talk about other things. AMAD Diallo, 13 goals and 3 assists in the championship this season, 16 goal contributions in the championship this season. Sunderland probably weren't expecting to get promoted, probably expected a mid-table finish, but AMAD Diallo has helped fire them into the championship playoff spots, and absolutely unbelievable goal from AMAD Diallo. And we're going to talk about him and how him and Garnacho could be a big part of Ten Hag's future project. I think Palestri will need a loan. I think AMAD and Garnacho, unbelievable player, AMAD Diallo. We'll talk about takeover news, and then we'll talk about transfer news. We've got news on Min Jae, Osimhen, what's he called? Rasmus Højlund, Harry Kane, Diogo, Costa, De Gea's future, Julian Timber, Moises Caicedo. What are United doing midfield-wise? McAllister going to Liverpool, Bellingham going to Real Madrid, Frankie de Jong unobtainable. Like, who are United signing in midfield? Caicedo's reportedly not likely to happen. Is what midfield are United looking at? Is it Orkun Cuckoo? Is it someone else? We were linked to the guy from Celta Vigo, Viega. We're linked to a guy from Real Sociedad. We'll talk about what are Man United doing in midfield and more as well. So keep smashing the likes. Of course, subscribe down below. Share the video as well. I can't believe Everton are 3-0 up right now. I was just thinking this now. Brighton, I swear every team when they play Manchester United, and let's be just really bad at the moment, and these teams aren't that good, but every team that plays Manchester United seems to just show up and play the best football they've played in their whole life. And then the game after they play Manchester United, these teams seem to get battered. I mean, look at this people as well. I will look at the live chat in just a second, but should we share this? Oh, look, we can share my screen without the stream crashing for a change. And as you can see here, Brighton 0-3 to Everton. Everton, to be fair, Everton have had 26% possession and all their shots have gone in, and Brighton have had a lot more of the ball. But Everton are absolutely toying with them. And you know what? It's because James Garner's playing. James Garner's not played all season for Everton. He puts James Garner in the lineup and they're 3-0 up. I told you, it's the Man United player. It's all James Garner. Everton wouldn't whip. No, I'm joking. But, like, what is going on here? What is going on? Everton, this is prime Barclays. This is prime Barclays. If we look at the Premier League table here, I thought Everton were getting relegated. I have to say, fuck the top 4 battle. Look at this. Southampton, Forest, Leeds, Leicester, Everton, West Ham. Well, to be fair, 16th to 19th. Everton, Leicester, Leeds and Forest. And 2 of those 4 teams are getting relegated. This is prime Barclay, this battle at the bottom. Man United have made sure West Ham are safe. So West Ham fans, thank us for being absolutely dreadful tomorrow. The United players thought, you know what, we need to make sure West Ham are safe. So we'll play as awful as we can. So there you go, West Ham. But this is mad. I hope Forest stay up. I hope Leicester and Leeds go down, or Everton and Leicester and Leeds go down. I hope Forest stays up just because they backed Steve Cooper. But, prime Barclays at the bottom. And I have to say that, this is good for us, really, because technically Brighton, had they win, would be a little bit of pressure on the top 4 there. So it's good that Brighton are losing. But I tell you what, we need Villa to do us a favour against Liverpool. We do need Villa to do us a favour against Liverpool, because United, tell you what, we should get top 4. We've got to win 3 of our remaining 4 games to get top 4. And I think United will get top 4, but I don't know. We need to sort out this drop in form, no cohesion, a lot of selfish play and poor decision making. And you're absolutely spot on. I was looking at these games, and this is just the poor patch. Look at these games here. Villa, we were quite good. Spurs, we had less. It all went downhill here. When it was 2-2 to Sevilla and we lost Martinez. We were having a good patch. we won. We had the Liverpool game. It really went downhill actually when we played Palace and we got the Casemiro suspension. So we're having a really good season, and this is when we dropped off here. We drew 1-1 to Palace, and Casemiro got suspended, so we lost to Arsenal. But then we were fine again. We're in some good form, winning these games. But then Casemiro gets suspended. We drop points. We win, good form again, doing well again. But then Liverpool 7-0. Then I think the Liverpool 7-0 would not have been the same since. Response to Betis, another Casemiro red card. Got thrashed by Newcastle. Got a good win against Brentford. Good win against Everton. Good win against Forest. We've got 3 Premier League wins in a row. We're in some good form, and that Sevilla game with a Martinez injury just effed us. I think this is when we lost Martinez and Varane in that Sevilla game. This is when we knew we were going to be slogging to the end of the season. This is when we knew it was a fat end of the season slog. I think there's 2-2 here, and we beat Forest comfortably, and then that was a difficult game. Spurs, we dropped points. Villa, we won, but these 2 games were particularly poor. No goal, 1-0 losses each. Preventable goals as well. If it was 0-0, at least for both of them, at least we'd been on 2 more points than we are now. Preventable, and I think now we're in a position where we've got to win 3 of these 4 games. Now I think we can beat Wolves. We're at home. I think Bournemouth we should beat. They're not very good, but we didn't beat West Ham. Chelsea at home we should win, and Fulham at home we should win. I think we can win all 4 of these games. We're at home for 3 of them. We seem to win all our home games. The away one is Bournemouth. That is a team that we can beat away from home. If we win our 3 home games, we've got top 4 sealed. We just need to win our remaining home games, and we can drop points on 1, and that's top 4 sealed. Hopefully, someone takes some points off Liverpool, because I tell you what, giving up top 4 from the position we're in is unacceptable. But if we give up top 4 to Liverpool from the position we're in, that is completely unacceptable as well. Concerned if we can abruptly fall off matches or not turn up at all, like Sevilla's second leg, West Ham, etc. And I just think Manchester United have picked the worst possible time in the season to just decide to be crap. We're having a good season, and when it counts, we just decided to be crap. Absolutely decided to just not show up and be crap. And we've given Liverpool some hope. Now, if Leicester, the good thing about this is this puts a bit of pressure on Leicester to go and do something against Liverpool. Not that Leicester look any good, and we will talk about James Maddison to United to get relegated, but this could put some pressure on Leicester to do something against Liverpool. Liverpool have also got a game against Villa, but I don't see Southampton doing anything against Liverpool. But we need to win 3 of our next 4 games, and with the way we're playing, we should win 3 of the next 4 games. I think we will win 3 of the next 4 games, but I don't like the fact that we'll be going into the final game of the season probably needing to win to cement top 4, when we could have maybe had top 4 sealed versus Wolves. If we'd won our earlier games that we stupidly dropped points in, Spurs, West Ham and Brighton, we would have been sealing top 4 right now against Wolves, or this weekend against Wolves. In fact, we're probably going to go into Fulham, a difficult game. They're 10th Fulham, 11th, 10th, going Fulham, final game of the season, looking to seal top 4, not position we want to be in such a comfortable position. If we give up top 4 to our arch rivals, and it's a complete and utter disgrace. And we've had a good season, but the mentality in these players, they've completely chosen to fall off at the wrong time. The mentality and everything as well. It's a good job our home record has meant we would be in mid-table otherwise, and Liverpool are not going to get top 4, and hopefully they won't be. And only team I can see perhaps beating Liverpool is Villa, and maybe Villa will need to do us a favour, but United, it's still in United's hands. At the end of the day, we can be worried about top 4, but it's in our hands, and Ten Hag will know that, and the players will know that, and hopefully the players will snap out of this lump that they've got into where they're playing particularly poor, and Ten Hag will say to them, look, top 4's in your hands, wake up. Opposition teams have worked us out. I don't think that. I just think it's a slump. I think so many injuries, we're tired, we're getting towards the end of the season. I think that Manchester United are in a bit of a slump at the moment as well, and the only away game left is against Bournemouth, so that should be the positive. It's mainly the attack of late, low percentage shots, running into blind alleys and not priming their chances, and I think Alex makes a good point here. United have massively dropped off, but actually the defence, despite all the injuries, has been all right. It's now Rashford's goals have dried up. We're not getting goals because Martial's not a scorer, Weghorst is not a scorer, and Anthony's not a natural scorer, and Sancho's not a natural scorer. Rashford has been so good all season, but as soon as Rashford goes through a little bad patch where Rashford's not quite playing at the level he was prior and he's got a bit of an injury, as soon as we get Rashford in that slight bad patch, and it doesn't help that Garnacho's also been out as well, because at least Garnacho gives us that electricity when Rashford doesn't play. We don't get goals because, Rashford's got 30 goals in all competitions this season, or 29. That is a significant portion of our goals, and we rely too much on him to score goals. If Rashford's not scoring goals, you don't know who else is going to score goals as well, and that's the problem as well. Mane's got injured at the wrong time, and I said this as well. I said the problem with Martinez is I think Luke Shaw and Lindelof doing a fantastic job, but Martinez was so good in our build-up, the way we play out from the back as well, that I think Martinez being injured, not only for the mentality that he brings, the warrior, the fighting spirit, he he's a true leader on the pitch, and I think we need that, but also, playing out from the back build-up, I think has lacked as well. And I think Manchester United should intensify training to clinical techniques and striker. We just don't have clinical strikers, and I think that's why we want striker. That's why striker's number one. Because you see, I like Martial, and he doesn't get a lot of chances created for him, but there was 2 good chances I think Bruno made right at the end in the 92nd minute or something. And you sit there and you go, well, Osimhen scores 2 of them, and Kane scores 2 of them, but Martial scored none of them. Martial did have his chances at the end. Bruno put in a good cross, and Osimhen's head would be on that, and that would be 1-0 United to be Adam. But Martial doesn't do that. So yeah, don't forget they played a lot of games and they're starting to tire. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to make loads of excuses for them. We did it the post twice, as someone said. I'll be honest with you. I think the first 25 minutes versus West Ham, we were right. I thought we were decent. I thought we played well. I thought we made a silly mistake. We conceded a goal away from home, and just mentally we weren't there. I get that we're tired. I get we have injuries, but the general personnel from United's not been good enough as well. I also think the dragging out of this negativity of this takeover process has spilled over affecting the squad late. And I agree. I said this in my live stream. I think that this takeover process going on and on and on, it doesn't help the squad. They don't know what's going on. They don't know if the Glazers are going to stay. They've got, it needs to be sorted. And look, we're going to talk about that now. So I'm going to get the Qatar news up. So let me go on to Twitter here. I can't be asked to copy the tweet from my notes, so I'm hoping this is going to come up right away if I Google searching Qatar. If not, we'll have to get it up. Fabrizio Romano said some interesting things on Qatar, which is not coming up. Wait, let me type Sheikh Jassim, because I'll get into it. I just want to get there. So yeah, Fabrizio Romano spoke about Sheikh Jassim, and we'll talk about what Romano said. So Fabrizio Romano went on the United Stand YouTube channel today. He spoke a lot about transfers, but he was asked about the takeover. He obviously spoke about the takeover a little, but he said a lot more than what's on your screen. He kind of said things along the lines of, he feels sorry for the United fans with the takeover because they deserve to know what's going on. And he didn't say this, but I think Fabrizio Romano is very much hinting at there's so many games going on in the media. No one really knows what's going on. And it's annoying. It's annoying probably for journalists. It's annoying for United fans. They just want this resolved. And I think Fabrizio Romano was very much hinting at, this takeover process needs to be resolved soon. No one probably knows what's going on. But Fabrizio Romano was asked about Sheikh Jassim and Qatar, despite the news of Sir Jim Ratcliffe being in pole position and set to be picked as preferred bidder. Romano did say, look, Sheikh Jassim's side is still confident that his offer to buy United will be a successful one. All the parties involved want the situation sorted by this month. And it's coming out from multiple sources saying, look, ignore that story the Rain Group put about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Anyone who's got sources to Qatar is coming out saying Qatar believe their offer will be successful. Qatar believe their offer will be successful. If it's not successful, Qatar are willing to go and speak to the Glazers. We've got the Telegraph, we've got Sky saying, look, Qatar believe their offer will be successful. If it's not successful, Qatar would like to propose a new deal, talk directly to the Glazers. We had my video today where I said where the Telegraph was saying, look, Qatar are too deep in this. The 90 Foundation is too deep in this. Qatar can't lose. Qatar won't allow themselves to lose, especially during Ratcliffe. They find it humiliating. Qatar will be willing to pull out to make sure they win. Pull out what it needs to make sure they win. They'll be willing to talk directly to the Glazers. There's a lot of stories coming out saying, there's this Jim Ratcliffe in pole position, but this is apparently winding up Qatar. Qatar don't want to lose out. It's a public humiliation for them. They're too far in this to lose. They're confident their bid will be successful. And if it's not successful, there are a lot of reports saying, look, Qatar will literally go to the Glazers and try and bid directly, or try and make an offer directly and see what they want as well. But it was said by Romano, all parties involved want the situation sorted by this month. It is said that by this month we should find out who the preferred bidder is. There was a rumour, obviously, that came out last week saying the preferred bidder would be announced tomorrow. So obviously, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you are subscribed with the post notification bell on, because if we do get any interesting updates on the preferred bidder, the situation going on at United, then you're going to want to be subscribed, with news coming out that United very likely to have a preferred bidder picked out this week. This could be the week where we find out really if it's going to be Qatar or Sir Jim. This will probably be a week of delay where we find out that both Sir Jim and Qatar have been asked to put in another bid, and they probably delayed it even more, if I was going to be honest, if I was going to guess. But this could be a massive week. in the takeover of Manchester United, because it is said that the preferred bidder will be picked this week. And, I think it will be Sergio Ratcliffe from the news I've read. But obviously, the news I've read, although it's come from Mike Keegan, although it's come from reliable sources, it's so hard to actually know if what you've read is true or not. You read one thing, you read another thing, everyone's saying different things. I have a feeling it is going to be Sir Jim, and I've not got my hopes very high, but in recent days, more articles are suggesting Qatar. And this is the weird thing, because we've had all this news about Sir Jim Ratcliffe this, Sir Jim Ratcliffe that, Sir Jim Ratcliffe being in pole position last week. But the last couple of days, it's saying, Qatari sources are saying complete opposites to the British media. Qatari sources are claiming this, and that actually no one really knows what's going on with this takeover. No one really knows as well. Sheikh Jassim will take over. Takeover will mean we will compete with Manchester City. Manchester United will be a title contender again. And I'll be honest with you, the only way I think Manchester United will be able to compete with the likes of Manchester City, Newcastle, PSG, Real Madrid, who've just got Bellingham and about to get Bellingham and absolutely the same midfield as if we get Qatar. And do you know what I think is embarrassing? Do you know what I absolutely think is embarrassing? I think there was like some no to Qatar banners. No to Qatar. I think, I don't, yeah, some United fans, I'm convinced the Glazers are paying them. I'm convinced the Glazers are paying them, but some United fans rocked up to West Ham with this no to Qatar banner and were holding it. And look, I get that there are some human rights issues, some political issues, and I get why people would be uncomfortable with the aspect of, Qatar owners. I get why people aren't a big fan of it. But the way I see it is, if you're saying no to Qatar, you're saying yes to the Glazers staying. And for me, if you're a United fan, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Some people will feel really strongly against Qatar, but for me as a United fan, I think, Qatar might not be perfect, but it's better than the Glazers staying any day of the week. If we want to be a top club again, whether you like it or not, we are going to need Qatar, because Sir Jim is going to keep the Glazers here. Football isn't like it used to be, where big clubs could owners could take money out of the club and they could still be at the top. With the money Manchester City have, the PSGs have, Newcastle have, we're going to have to invest. The money Chelsea have, we're going to have to invest. So if Manchester United want to get anywhere near Man City, as much money as we generate, as big as club as we are, we need to, I think, really be owned by someone like Qatar. It doesn't have to be Middle Eastern ownership. It could be a rich businessman that has a really good strategic plan and is going to employ the right people and is prioritising the success of Man United. But our options are Sergio Ratcliffe and Qatar, and Sergio Ratcliffe allows the Glazers to stay. And there's some United fans that I think surely the Glazers are paying them, but there's some United fans that are saying no to Qatar. But for me, I just think, well, it's Qatar or the Glazers, and I think I know who I'd pick. I think a lot of people will be with me on that. I don't personally. I don't want the Glazers anywhere near United next season. I want to be better than Man City. I don't want to see Man City in the race for a treble again. I don't want to see Man City doing the 3P. I don't want to see Man City in a few years maybe overtaking them at Premier Leagues we've won. Manchester City have finished above Man United every single season since Sir Alex Ferguson's retired, since 2013. 10 years. I don't want to see them finish above us for 11th season. I want to compete with them. They've got Haaland, they've got a young team, they've got this and that. I want to be able to compete with them, and that, for me, I think, Qatar is probably what you need. And the problem is, if we don't get Qatar, they could just go and buy Liverpool. They could just go and buy Liverpool as well. Ratcliffe's offer doesn't seem viable. Now, the interesting thing that was said regarding Ratcliffe's offer is, is actually, do the Glazers want to go or not? Because Ratcliffe's offer proposes Joe and Abrahams to stay for another 3 years. And technically they get more money per share, more money per valuation. But the question was actually, do the Glazers just want to get rid of United now? Do they want to deal with Ratcliffe this and Ratcliffe that? There are reports that, the Glazers have been to Qatar multiple times. There are reports and rumours coming out that actually Qatar are a lot deeper in this than Sir Jim. Sir Jim's proposed this new offer, and Sir Jim might think that his new offer for United is smart. I can't compete with Qatar for 100%, so I'm going to give the Glazers more for 50% and propose the Glazers stay so they get more out of it and use the money I make at United to buy out the Glazers. So Jim has got some kind of plan together. There's a lot of avenues you can look at this, but there is a feeling in the media. Now, I'm not saying that this means Qatar are going to be the next owners or anything, but there is a feeling in the media, and there are reports that the Glazers had a lot more meetings with Qatar than Sir Jim. The Glazers have a closer relationship with Qatar than Sir Jim. Qatar have been working on this in a while. The Glazers have been out in the Middle East. They went out to Qatar, as well, when the World Cup was on, but it was actually for business reasons. They've had multiple meetings The Glazers want a good relationship with the Middle East. They want to get United completely off their books. They don't like the idea of staying at United. They're not in full control. We don't know what the Glazers want, because we get one source saying the Glazers want Qatar and Qatar are confident and the Glazers actually prefer Qatar's offer, but they want a bit more money for Qatar. We have other sources saying, Sergio Ratcliffe's new offer is actually what the Glazers want. They can stay, they can do this, they can do that. Sergio Ratcliffe's offer is more valuable. The annoying thing about the takeover is we're getting a different price from every source about what Sergio and what Qatar's offer is. But what was come out from sources close to Qatar is that the figure coming out in the news that Qatar bid this, and this is way lower than it is. Qatari sources are claiming the British media is saying that their bid's a lot lower than it is. And if the British media are getting stuff, and these are the reliable British media, that is because they've been briefed that. And all the things that come out from the British media, a lot of the time will be briefings directly from the Rain Group. And the Glazers only choose what the Rain Group leaks because of the non-disclosure agreement. So it's just such a difficult one to know what's going on, because everything that's actually coming out is what the Glazers allow them to come out, and then every now and then we get a source that's close to Sir Jim and a source that's close to Qatar to say things, but Qatar and Sir Jim have to be careful because of the non-disclosure agreement. So because of this non-disclosure agreement, we get a story about Sir Jim being in pole position, then we get a story about Qatar being in pole position, etc., etc. So again, as I've said, Tuesday we'll have some clarity on what happens, but hopefully some new owners in that are good as well. To sort out the present team issues, we need the sale completely quickly for the good of the club. And I tell you what, watching the game today or yesterday versus West Ham just said to me one thing. That West Ham game said to me really one thing, and that said Man United need a big summer transfer window. Manchester United need to sort themselves out ahead of this summer transfer window, and it's really important that we get this takeover sorted, because we need a goalkeeper, we need a striker, we need a midfielder, we need a defender, and you could argue we need another midfielder. You could argue that we need 5, 6, even 7 positions. I think the main 3 would probably be defence, midfield, striker, potentially goalkeeper. But United are going to need investment. Ten Hag clearly needs a lot of players. These players clearly aren't as good as maybe we'd hoped or thought that they were. So Ten Hag needs help. Ten Hag needs help from the board. Ten Hag needs help, and that's exactly why we need this takeover process sorted, because we have a big summer transfer window ahead, and we can't get on with our summer transfer window. It is May. This time a year ago, we were talking about Frankie de Jong. I know, horrible, deja vu. Not deja vu, that's the wrong word, flashback. But this time a year ago, I was making videos on de Jong. Not thinking that I'd be making videos on de Jong from the beginning of May, actually end of April. I will tell you this now. The de Jong story broke when we beat Forest in the FA Youth Cup final. Man United Forest Youth Cup final. After we beat Forest in the Youth Cup final, that story completely broke about de Jong to United, and that was the 11th. So on the 11th of May, so nearly a year today, we had the de Jong saga. Nearly a year since de Jong saga. We beat Forest in the Youth Cup. Then a couple hours after, this big story comes out from Romeo saying United backing for de Jong. Funny enough, a story came out today to say United were backing to de Jong. But you know what? I'm not going to cover it. I'm not going to give Frankie de Jong any attention at all, because I'm very much over the Frankie de Jong saga. But at least this time a year ago, not thinking I was going to be talking about Frankie de Jong for 3 months, but we were getting the transfer news, we were getting the Jury and Timber news, we were getting the Frankie de Jong news, because United were actively planning their transfer window this time a year ago. We got the Anthony news in, etc., etc. Right now, we know we want Kane, but we can't do anything. We know we've had advanced talks with Kane. We know we've surveyed if it will be easy to get Kane or not, but we can't do anything. We get a McAllister link here and there, and I'm sure Ten Hag's generally interested in McAllister, but we're going to have to let McAllister go to Liverpool, because 1, we don't know if we have the funds to buy him after we buy a striker, and 2, we can't do anything now when Liverpool can. We know that Ten Hag likes Timber. We know that Ten Hag likes McAllister. We know that United have looked at Min Jae. We know that United are interested in a goalkeeper. We know that United are interested in Frimpong, and we know that United are interested in Harry Kane. But we can't start actively working on that, because we don't know what the budget is. We don't know who's going to be here, etc., etc. We could be working on this right now if this takeover deal was sorted, but we can't. And the sad thing is, when the transfer window opens in a month, we still can't be working on it, because this takeover will still be ongoing. And the game against West Ham says to me, United need a lot of investment here, and here. But United can't invest here, and here until they've got the takeover sorted. So the more and more this takeover process drags on, it's becoming more annoying as well. Qatar does not equal infinite money. Look, I don't think Qatar solves all our issues as well. I think, it's how you spend your money. Chelsea got a lot of money. They spent it awfully. It's not just about having money. It's about how you spend money. But for me, the Qatar, they clear the debt. They're going to spend money. They're not going to take money out of the club. Glazers, Sir Jim are going to spend our money and take it out of the club. So for me, that's why Qatar become the strongest competitors as well. Could have been West Ham fans taking the mick potentially as well. Full sale only, full sale only. Smash that like button if you're full sale only as well. A lot of people saying full sale only. Guys, want 113 likes. If your Glazers out, smash that like button. Let's see if we can get to 400 likes now. So if everyone watching hits the like button as well. Alex says issue with Jim's money isn't there. Jim's money isn't there to address everything we need. His plan, squad, Old Trafford facilities, likely to be an extension of Glazer policies. That's the problem. Qatar's plan is new stadium, new facilities, investment here, and here. Jim Ratcliffe's like, yeah, I'll invest in the squad, yeah, I'll improve this, but Jim Ratcliffe doesn't have the funds to build a new stadium or do this or do that or do what what Qatar can do. Jim Ratcliffe's offer can't match or actually get anywhere near close to Qatar's in terms of what can you bring to Manchester United, what can you add to Manchester United. So that's the problem with Sir Jim, is he could be the next owner of United, but if Sir Jim is the next owner of United, that is money that Sir Jim is borrowing. Sir Jim is borrowing money to be the next owner of United. He would then use the money he makes at United, take money out of the club to buy the Glazers out, but he'll be using the money he makes from United to invest in himself, and he will not be using his own money to improve the club because he does not have that money. Qatar have the money to do a new stadium, to do this, to do that, without taking money out of the club, and that's why I think Qatar come across the better option as well. Frankie de Jong, we don't want him. I'll be honest, I would do anything for Frankie de Jong in the summer. I would, well, not anything, but I would love Frankie de Jong in the summer. I think Frankie de Jong would be the perfect signing, but I just can't be bothered with it as well. Put money on Kane sign. I said this now. I get why Kane, overpriced, aging, isn't people's first choice striker, but if you've watched Manchester United this season and you still say no to Harry Kane, I think you're mad. Yes, there's probably better options, better value for money options. But Harry Kane's got 26 goals this season for Tottenham Hotspur. Harry Kane, in any other season since 16-17, would be top scorer winning the Golden Boot right now. But because Haaland's been insane, Harry Kane's 26 goals pretty much gets overlooked. Harry Kane's got 26 goals this season in a crap, underperforming Spurs side that does not know how to attack. Manchester United have created the third most amount of chances in the Premier League, but are rated 16th for conversion. You bring in a striker like Harry Kane that can convert, Manchester United could have 20 more goals this season. What was our problem versus Brighton? Could not score. What was our problem versus West Ham? Could not score. The defence have been all right. The defence have done their job. You build a team out from the back, sort that goalkeeper out, maybe bring another defender in there like Timber or Min Jae for some depth. You bring in another midfielder to take with creativity, and you get that big striker, and all your team, Southern United will be elevated to the next level as well. The Glazers won't make any announcement till June. I think there will be an announcement in May. I do expect some big takeover news to come out in May, and I expect there'll be a thing in May. Everton are 4-0 up, which is absolutely mad. Did not see Everton winning, let alone being 4-0 up as well. Showcock cancelled. I'm really impressed with Declan Rice. I thought Declan Rice was fantastic yesterday for West Ham. Declan Rice and Harry Kane, I think, are two footballers that are actually unbelievable top-level footballers. But because they're English and because they're English, they get that overpriced price tag on them. People don't rate them. People think Declan Rice and Harry Kane are crap because they're English and they're 100 million, a waste of money. Declan Rice and Harry Kane are absolutely top, unbelievable players. They're not Maguire. They're not English players that are overpriced. Yes, Declan Rice and Harry Kane are overpriced, but they're such unbelievable players, and we've seen that this season. And Declan Rice is someone I'd like at United, but we'd have to. I think if we were going to go for Declan Rice, we'd have to wait one more season. I think I can see Declan Rice going to Arsenal or Chelsea in the summer, and I can see United potentially going in for Moises Caicedo next summer. Fabrizio Romano did speak about Moises Caicedo to United and said, probably unlikely this summer with McAllister going for 80 million and him signing a new contract. But I see United going for Moises Caicedo next summer. But mad to think that Everton are 4-0 up, and why couldn't they be that crap against us, Brighton? Why did Brighton and West Ham have to play at their very best against United? And as soon as they're not playing United, they drop off as well. Martinez from Milan, he's been linked to United a lot, but I don't think so as well. We need a new goalkeeper. I'm going to do a poll because I like David Day. I think he's been a great servant for this club, and I do think he gets too much stick, and I do think people use him as a scapegoat. But I think, he is causing us problems, David Day. I think, stupid advert. He does make too many mistakes, especially recently. He holds us out playing from the back. He can't claim those crosses. He's not physically good from corners and set pieces, and he is costing United a bit. So I'm going to ask, do a poll. Would you sign a new goalkeeper? Now, when I'm asking this poll in the chat, would you sign a new goalkeeper with the yes or no option? Everton 4-1, Brighton have just scored, but I am saying in the sense of, we do need a striker, we do need a midfielder. The difficult thing is, I think Ten Hag wants a new goalkeeper. I think Ten Hag wants a new goalkeeper, realizes he needs a new goalkeeper, but he knows that before he gets a new goalkeeper, he needs that striker. Ten Hag knows, I think Ten Hag knows this kind of player, and I think Ten Hag doesn't plan to have De Gea here for long. I think Ten Hag wants a new goalkeeper deep down, but I think Ten Hag got to think rational. I might want a new goalkeeper, but I also want a new striker and a new midfielder. And right now, our biggest problem is striker, and then he might view our second biggest problem as midfield. And if I invest big in a striker and I invest big in a midfielder, I might not have the money I need to invest in the right keeper. And if I'm not going to sign the right keeper, there's no point signing a keeper. Maybe you bring Henderson back, though. That's what I think. I think Ten Hag wants a new goalkeeper, but I think Ten Hag sees it with the perspective of, actually, I've got other positions I need to address, which he might be more important as addressing, because I don't think David De Gea is a Ten Hag player. You know, David De Gea, if he wants to stay at United, that's to half his wages, which could suggest that he would just stay and be a second goalkeeper. A lot of people proposed the idea of bringing Dean Henderson back and starting him in goal. I mean, I'd personally sell Dean Henderson, but if I was United, David Raya is available for 20 million, leaving Brentford. I would put some money on David Raya, but a lot of people say, you know, Alice, we need a new goalkeeper, we need a goalkeeper. De Gea is rubbish, but signing a new goalkeeper is so difficult. You know, we signed so many goalkeepers. Was it post-Michael? They didn't work out. Signing a new goalkeeper is almost the hardest position. It's so difficult. You know, Chelsea and Mendy and Kepa's not worked out for them. We can sell De Gea and we can say Diogo Costa would be great, David Raya would be great, etc., etc. But it's so different being a goalkeeper for Brentford and being a goalkeeper for United. It's so different. You know, you've got to be used to making a lot of saves for one team, but at United you might only have to do 1 or 2 saves, but it's a world of save. It's very different to be a goalkeeper for United, and you know. I think the problem is Ten Hag knows if we sign a goalkeeper, we've got to sign the right goalkeeper, because this goalkeeper is actually arguably the most important position on the pitch, in the sense of, you know, we mess this up, we're in for a long season. If we're in about, you know, obviously Manigans, Diogo Costa, David Wright, I rate them all. But it's Ten Hag wants a striker, Ten Hag wants a midfielder. He might want a goalkeeper. There might be goalkeepers available in that price tag, but Ten Hag might be like, we're going to have to spend a lot on the keeper because we're going to have to make sure we get the right keeper. And I think that is the difficult thing as well. Harry Kane will puzzle for Manchester United, can make Manchester United win the Premier League title. I think Harry Kane could take United up to a mad level. We need a striker, another midfielder, a defender, and a keeper, and I agree with that as well. Jim, is either inept or a lie to think the club revenue will fix everything? We operated at a significant loss the last few years and barely broke even. And this is a good point from Alex. Going back to the takeover, Jim Ratcliffe wants to use United to make money, borrow more money to buy United, but unless United get back on the pitch and do well, I don't think United are going to be economically sustainable. You know, since COVID, since the losses, United have been making losses economically. And I think, you know, it's going to be a big project for Sir Jim. I think he realises if you look at the finances of United, if United want to be sustainable and you want United to make money again, you're going to need to invest in that squad. You're going to need to win trophies. And again, it doesn't make too much sense as well. We need half of the new starters. We do need a lot of players as well. What's the poll looking at, people? What's the poll looking at as well? If Forest beat Southampton, I think Southampton can go down today, and Leicester and Leeds will be in the relegation zone. I hope Forest get a win today against Southampton. Put Leicester or Leeds in the relegation zone. I was thinking this now. Well, I was talking about Maddison. He's in the thumbnail. United have been linked to Maddison, 40 million, bish bash bosh. Well, let me know your thoughts on United signing Maddison. I think Maddison would be good because I think we lack that creativity in midfield. I think Maddison is better than Sabitzer. Maddison can play next to Casemiro. Maddison can play in Bruno's role. We could play Maddison in Bruno's role and drop Bruno deeper next to Casemiro. I think it brings in good depth. I think Maddison's really good competition for Eriksen. I think that potentially puts Eriksen on the bench. So Eriksen and Fred are our bench options. Maybe Maddison's a starter. For me, I think Maddison would be a good option, but I think United, if they sign Maddison, would have to sign 2 midfielders. For me, I've said this, Moises Caicedo and Maddison would be banging. But I think United need to sign a striker, 2 midfielders, goalkeeper, centre-back this summer. That's what I've said as well. I agree. If the budget is limited, then there are more important positions than that need upgrading. And look, while I think we need a goalkeeper, as Paul has said, if the budget is limited, let's focus on a striker and midfielder. Alex says Dean is banging. She was pretty awful in his run of matches for us, and distribution was nothing special. Yeah, I think Dean Henderson was slightly overhyped by United fans. I do think that actually when Dean Henderson was in goal for United, Maguire played his best ever football for United. And I'm not backing Maguire, but when that report came out that Maguire thinks that he played better with Dean Henderson, I don't think Maguire was wrong. I think that Maguire and Lindelof had that good spell together where we were en route for second, and that was when when Dean Henderson was in goal for a while. But Dean Henderson made just as many mistakes as De Gea. If you need a keeper from me, I will go for a new keeper. Don't think Dean Henderson's it. I think De Gea's past it, doesn't suit the modern game. If I was United, I would go for a new keeper because Dean Henderson also made mistakes. And I think that's the difficult thing, you know. Do we need a new goalkeeper? Do we need a new striker? Do we need a midfielder? Yes. What is the budget? Limited. What do we need first? A striker. Because our problem is scoring goals. And then you can look at other options as well. They want 40 million from Raya. It was quoted at 15, then 20, then 40 million. I think somewhere around the 30 million mark would get Raya, which I think would be decent business as well. And I take a young keeper on, even if it means he has to go into position. It could allow us to play it from the back. I think, you know, I don't know a lot about keepers, but I think it's a keeper that can play the way Ten Hag wants him to play, can stop shots, that is a good elite keeper is what United need. And to find that is so difficult as well. Get rid of Maguire and get another defender. It has been said that, you know, Maguire's very like to leave. I mean, I made a video on it, yesterday or the day before. Maguire's very much accepted it's his time to leave United. It's very much accepted in the media, in the news, that Maguire will leave United. He's accepted it's his time to leave United, etc., etc., and that United will go out and look to replace Maguire with the likes of Kim Min Jae and Jurriën Timber. It's very well known in the media that Maguire is very likely to leave United as well. Maddison greater than Bruno. I think they're both top players, but I would still take Bruno as well. I'm not sure Maddison would want to be a squad player if he was willing to, then I'd absolutely take him. And the thing about Maddison is I don't think he'd necessarily be a squad player. I think him and Bruno could play together. I think he's an upgrade on Eriksen. I think still we need a Casemiro backup. For me, if we sign Maddison and Casemiro backup, that's good. I mean, the ideal signing for me would be Frankie de Jong because he's just everything that's brilliant. You know, maybe you look at Lavia or Maddison. You know, would Lavia or Maddison would be a good window as well. You know, there's so many options that United can do in midfield as well. As soon as United comes calling, that's the price for Raya. What jump into. The thing is, you know that Raya will be £25 million, and then they find out United's interested in him and it's 40-50 million pounds. That is the big problem as well. You know, whenever United are interested in a player, the price just rockets up. And the problem with United is because they're going to leave transfers late, because obviously we've been a big mess with the takeover. The later you leave transfers, that, you know, you go in for a player in August, that player is 10 million more than they would have been in June because you leave the transfer late as well. So yeah, Everton scoring 3 plus Brighton, and we couldn't score 1. Hopefully they show the Brighton dressing room after you know, after the Everton loss, because they were very keen to show the Brighton dressing room after they beat Manchester United. So hopefully we see something good from them soon as well. AMAD Diallo, we'll talk about AMAD Diallo in a second. We'll talk about other news, but I do want to get into a bit of a transfer news update. Fabrizio Romano went on the United stand today and gave a really big transfer news update. Daniel says, keep smashing the likes for Alice. Yes, please do keep smashing the likes. I appreciate it. Big up Daniel. And Camavinga's happy at Real Madrid. I'd love Camavinga. I think Camavinga would be a banging signing, but I don't see him leaving Real Madrid as well. I really don't see him leaving Real Madrid. Anyway, I want to talk about some more news. Fabrizio Romano actually did a transfer update. It did come out originally saying, despite concerns about De Gea's ability to play out from the back, Ten Hag has not ruled out the possibility of starting De Gea next season as number 1, particularly if there's a bulk of his transfer budget is gone on a striker. It said conversations to reduce De Gea's salary is still ongoing. It said, but Romano obviously spoke about the goalkeeper situation, then he spoke about the defender situation, then the midfielder situation. So let's get into what Fabrizio Romano said today. Romano said, and we'll zoom in on that so just so you can see that a bit better. Romano said here, I don't expect Manchester United to go for a super expensive goalkeeper this summer like Diogo Costa. Maybe an opportunity with a keeper with good skills to create competition. So Romano is saying, look, United have scattered Diogo Costa. I'm sure United are interested in Diogo Costa, but I think Romano is confirming the news of, while United are interested in looking at a new goalkeeper, they don't have the funds to get a big fat new goalkeeper because, you know, they've got to spend those funds on Harry Kane and a midfielder. But maybe a goalkeeper like David Raya that could be available for 20-25 million could come in as the hair competition, or someone seriously could come in, or maybe they keep Dean Henderson as the hair competition as well. So that was the first bit of news that came out by Romano as well. Romano then spoke about the striker situation. Romano spoke about Harry Kane. Harry Kane's obviously the favourite. Manchester United really want Harry Kane, but they know that Daniel Levy's difficult to deal with in the price, so they're looking at other players. Romano said the situation is very open with Osimhen. I think he's still on the market despite Napoli president saying he's not for sale. He says still keep an eye on Osimhen. And Romano said that United have also been scouting Rasmus Højlund, but nothing is advanced in terms of discussion. But we know that Rasmus Højlund would be desperate to go to United. Now, interesting, you know, Goncalo Ramos was in that top 3, but Goncalo Ramos has been replaced with Kolo Muniani. And Romano said Osimhen, Kane and Kolo Muani are considered the three favourites as it stands in terms of striker options for Manchester United. Now, I'm not a big fan of Kolo Muani because I just don't want anyone from the Bundesliga, but they are appealing as the three favourites, overtaking the likes of Goncalo Ramos. Now, I think if we get Osimhen, we won't be able to get Kim Min Jae. I can't see Napoli selling us two players, but Kim Min Jae does have a release clause, and it is said that United and Newcastle are the two Premier League clubs interested in Kim Min Jae, and they've shown a strong interest in him. And United, I think if Maguire goes, if we can get 30-odd million from Maguire, I wouldn't be shocked if United played 40 million triggering his release clause. I think Kim Min Jae or Julian Timber are very like, one of the two of them is going to end up at United. I have a feeling this summer that Maguire will go, and either Kim Min Jae or Julian Timber will come in to replace him. I think Maguire will be sold, and I think we will sign a defender as well. Romano was asked about Moises Caicedo to United, and he said at the moment nothing's advanced and nothing's ongoing with Moises Caicedo to United. And he said, Manchester United's priority is a striker. Then they'll have a look at the budget to decide what kind of midfielder they need. So Romano said that, while we're looking at goalkeeper and centre backs, it is the number one priority is striker. The number two priority is midfielder as well. Would you take Nick Pope at Man United, Alice? I mean, he's a decent keeper. I like Mick Pope, but I think there's someone a little bit better out there. Personally, AMAD is coming to compete with Anthony. I think AMAD will give Anthony good competition. Left-footed winger that plays on the right that cuts in, but AMAD is so technically gifted, and I actually think that Ten Hag will love AMAD, and I think AMAD could really thrive under Ten Hag because he's a very highly technical player. Ten Hag likes technical players. I think this Manchester United squad lacks intelligence, lacks technicality. Our decision-making is particularly awful at times, and I see AMAD Diallo potentially being a real star at Manchester United under Ten Hag, and I really hope Ten Hag gives AMAD Diallo the minutes he needs and wants to develop and become a top player, because I think he's so technically good, AMAD Diallo, and he shows bags and bags of potential. I'd absolutely love to see that as well. Sell old useless garbage and buy young superstars, and a trophy will be ours. It'd be like, I wish it was like FIFA where we could sell all the crap and we could bring in some really great young new players as well. It was said that AMAD will end the Champions season as Sunderland's top scorer as well. And obviously, regarding the Qatar takeover, I will talk about what I mentioned in this morning's video. But it was also said on the Qatar takeover that there's one obvious destination, and that's Qatar. Ineos have tried to make it work in different ways, but my feeling is that Qatar, so far in this, it's become a question of prestige. They have to win this. That was obviously the thing there as well. Can he play Bruno's role? Who? Maddison? Probably yes. Striker and midfielder top priority, goalkeeper's not, and I agree. I think you go striker, midfielder, then goalkeeper, then centre back, then second midfielder. I think if we can get those 5 positions addressed, it'd be great. AMAD can kick with both feet, unlike Anthony has one leg. I like Anthony, but I think sometimes he's predictable. I think that's the thing. I think sometimes he's very predictable, Anthony. You know what he's going to do. He can slow down the game. And I like Anthony, and I think whenever we take Anthony off, we play worse. I think whenever we sell Anthony off, we play worse. I think Anthony holds the whip. I think we play better as a team when Anthony's on the pitch. But the annoying thing that frustrates me about Anthony is sometimes he doesn't finish off the chances he has, and sometimes he's predictable. Now, I think Anthony's had a decent season. I think that Anthony's made impact. He's been pretty busy. He's been heavily involved. But yeah, Nick put in the chat here, and I read this story earlier, but I'm not sure how reliable the source is. But it was said that Martial is going to Saudi Arabia, been offered a 14 million year contract. It is said that Saudi Arabian team are looking to buy Anthony Martial. Now, I can't tell you how reliable the source is. It came out from a Saudi Arabian source, but I wouldn't be shocked if Martial left in the summer. I think Ten Hag likes Martial, but I think Ten Hag knows he's not good enough. And I think with his injury record, I think the Ten Hag has grown some frustration in Anthony Martial as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. AMAD, I think he plays as an 8 for Sunderland. AMAD plays all over the block for Sunderland. I'll get AMAD Diallo's stats up here. I think he's played best as a right midfielder, right winger, but again, I think Ten Hag will really like AMAD because he's particularly versatile. This is AMAD's map from this season. This bloody advert, tell you what, adverts blocking my thing, but I don't know how well you can see that, but this is AMAD Diallo's stats. He's played 12 games as a right winger, 7 games as a centre forward, 3 games as a right mid, right wing, right mid, same thing. 15 games on the right-hand side, AMAD Diallo's played. He's played 9 games as an attacking midfielder, 2 games as a second striker, and 7 games as a centre forward. So he's probably played 11 games as a number 10, 7 games as a striker and centre forward, and 15 games on the right wing. Been particularly versatile. However, statistically, look where he looks. But right wing, 6 goals, 3 assists. 9 goal contributions in 12 games on the right wing. He's also got 5 goal contributions as attacking midfielder. As an attacking midfielder, as a right winger, he's been particularly good. Where does Bruno play? Attacking mid, right wing. Where does Sancho play? Attacking mid, right wing. Where does Antony play? Right wing. I think AMAD Diallo comes in there as very good competition, someone that can keep the ball, that is less predictable, good with 2 feet, but actually got that technicality. And I think AMAD Diallo could really excel on that right wing for United. If he's doing this in a Sunderland side of the Championship, and the Championship is not an easy league, and yeah, I think he could do just as well at United. And people say it's the Premier League is different, but he'll be playing with better players at United, hopefully, fingers crossed. You know, AMAD Diallo could be playing with Harry Kane and be getting 12 assists in the Premier League next season. You know, look at Martinelli, look at Saka. If you're playing with good players, if you're a good player, you've got good technical ability and you suit a good system, you've got reasons to excel. And I think AMAD Diallo could have that Martinelli-like season this year. I really do. I think he could be fantastic at United. I mean, if you look at recent games here, played attacking midfield in the last 2 games, right wing, attacking midfield, you know, been very, very good for Sunderland. And you know what? If worse came to worse and Sunderland got promoted, I'd be happy to see him play on loan in the Premier League for Sunderland. If Ten Hag is not going to give AMAD Diallo the minutes, he must get a Premier League loan because he's just come off the back of a brilliant Championship loan. He's getting to that point in his career where he's pushing on to the Premier League. He needs the minutes. So if Sunderland do get promoted and win the playoffs, then I really hope AMAD Diallo gets a chance. Guys, we're on 200 likes, so keep smashing the like button. If your glazes out, hit that like button. Alice, do you think we could try slotting Wan-Bissaka in as a defensive midfielder alongside Casemiro? A lot of people have said this, and this is something that a lot of people speak about, but I think it's a lot harder to be a defensive midfielder than you think. I don't think Wan-Bissaka suits it. He's got a good tackle on him, but his positional sense, his passing, I don't know if Wan-Bissaka could do it. I'd rather, you know, a lot of people say let's try Wan-Bissaka centre back. I mean, Luke Shaw's banging at centre back. I do think Wan-Bissaka will be more suited to DM than centre back. I think Luke Shaw, left back, centre back, I can see that happening. You know, CDM centre back, you can see happening. But I'll be honest, I don't see Wan-Bissaka as a DM. I see Lindelof as more chance and Martinez as more chances to DM than Wan-Bissaka as well. Everton got 5 past Brighton. Absolutely insane by Everton. Absolutely insane by Everton. And Garnacho and Rashford on the left, Antony and AMAD on the right. Sounds good to me. You've also got Sancho that would offer even more depth to the wing as well. We've got Bruno in the middle, potentially someone like Maddison, potentially someone like Kane up top, and we'd have a good attack. Because I'll say this now, even if we sell Martial and Weghorst, we can have Kane and Rashford as striker options. We can have Rashford, Garnacho and Sancho as left wing options. And we can have Antony and Diallo as right wing options. I think just bringing in that top striker and hoping just to get injured, that United attacking line looks good. Then you just got to sort out the midfield. I think we need 2 midfielders, an attacking creative midfielder, a Casemiro backup. The Casemiro backup can be young, can be an understudy, but I think the attacking creative midfielder needs to be in their prime to really bring something to the squad now, because a lot of our players are in their prime. We're building for now, we're building on this season. And then you look at your goalkeepers and you look at your centre-backs. I do like Jurriën Timber in the sense of I know he's got his liabilities, but he can play right back, he can play centre-back. A lot of people say he's too small, he'll be nothing, blah, blah, blah. I like Jurriën Timber. I think he could also help with our build-up play. I think Jurriën Timber would be a good signing. I think that Min Jae would be a good signing, but I do think that United need a goalkeeper. Guys, please do smash that like button and, of course, subscribe down below if you're new as well. And, of course, share the video as well. Anyone saying Wan-Bissaka playing through the middle or smoking crack? I mean, look, I wouldn't try Wan-Bissaka through the middle personally myself. You never know. Luke Shaw's been crazy good at centre-back, but I just think Wan-Bissaka's a right-back and always a right-back as well. Any news on Rashford's new contract? I mean, the news on Rashford's new contract has been particularly slow, in all honesty, hasn't it? There's not really much going on with Rashford's new contract, or not much exciting, to be honest. But I do think that will be sorted. The feeling is that'll be sorted. Well done, Eriksen, who's been awarded the comeback of the year award. And I think Eriksen has had a good season. Dropped off a little bit recently since his injury, but I think Eriksen has had a good season as well. Wan-Bissaka doesn't have the presence or passing range ability with DM, and that's pretty much what I was trying to say as well. But look, big up everybody in the chat. I am going to wrap up today's live stream here because I think the takeover news just gets a bit repetitive. I do think I just end up saying the same thing and all of that, etc. So please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed to the channel. Please do smash that like button if you have not already. Share the video. I will be back live tomorrow. Now I'm trying to go live every single evening. Now the summer transfer window is going, because I feel like in the summer I went live every single evening. There was a bit in January I went live most, but I think at the moment I've been going live every other day, and I want to get back into the routine of really going live every evening, or even if it's not the evening, a little bit earlier, because I think we're getting into that point of the season when news is coming out. Now, unfortunately, the transfer news that I would hope to be going live and talking about isn't really as active at the moment. So hopefully we can get some transfer news coming out, because once the transfer news starts going and once the you know, we really start getting news on transfers and transfer movement and this and that, I'll be live a lot more. And I'll be pretty much live every evening once the transfer window kicks off. But I should be live tomorrow. If not, there will be a video definitely tomorrow. There'll probably be something around 11 o'clock. And there'll probably, if I am live tomorrow, it'll probably be around the 6 o'clock mark. Is it the Champions League tomorrow? Or is that next week? Is it the Champions League tomorrow? It is the Champions League tomorrow. Come on, Real Madrid. Because it'll be the Champions League tomorrow. If I am live, it'll be around 5, 6 o'clock. So do subscribe to that. Glad that Brighton are getting pumped. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. Let's hope Liverpool drop some points as well. Takes even more pressure off top four. See you next time and bye.